You're watching CBS7 News at 9 on the CW and live on the CBS7 YouTube channel with Alexandra, Macia, and Tom Tieferteller.
Again, we just have to prepare for the worst. We always have to assume that there really is one, and that's why we're here today. Just making sure we're all on the same page with the other agencies, and to see what went well and what didn't go well.
Today, local law enforcement offices gathered at the Ector County Coliseum for active shooter training. Coming up in just a few minutes, we have more on today's training. Good evening. Thanks for joining us for CBS7 News on the CW, and thanks for joining us live on the CBS7 YouTube. I'm Alexandra, Macia, and we start tonight with continuing coverage on the Midland Christian educators who were arrested in 2022. According to a release from Jeff Paras of the Paras Law Office, the case against Midland Christian educators Matthew Counts, Dana Ellis, and Jared Lee has been dismissed. You'll remember they were arrested in January of 2022 and charged with intent to conceal, neglect, or abuse, and were no-billed by a grand jury a few months later, but were rearrested not long after that for a separate incident. Now, the indictment for that incident has been dismissed. The Midland County District Attorney's Office recused itself earlier this summer for the second arrest, and Ector County District Attorney Dustin Gallivan took over prosecution. The dismissal comes amid a counter lawsuit. Those Midland Christian educators suing Midland Police and the City of Midland for wrongful arrests. All the details on the arrests are up on our website at CBS7.com. And both MISD and ECISD board members approved the 2023 to 2024 tax rate. Both rates are less than the previous years. The MISD board approved a tax rate of 0.8770, which is a decreased rate of 3.78 cents and a 4.13% decrease in the overall rate. In MISD's motion, they did use wording that suggested the property tax be increased by the adoption of this rate, although board members assured that this was in fact a decrease. And there was some back and forth between the MISD board before the 7-0 approval, although they did all unanimously vote for the rate. It's estimated that MISD will be able to save taxpayers an estimated $33 million from paying the current debt down sooner. The ECISD board approved a tax rate of $1.14, and this is a slight decrease from the $1.17 the rate was in previous years. The new ECISD rate is expected to save homeowners $500+ in property taxes. And in honor of National Literacy Month, Midland Mayor Lori Blong began a book drive that will go on until Saturday. Nationwide, there are around 43 million Americans that can't read, write, or do math above a third grade level, and the Permian Basin isn't immune to this. The donations will go towards organizations that need them, like literacy programs and organizations that help kids and women who have gone through difficult situations at home.
And so as we're looking for these book donations, we believe that access to quality literature is really a critical component of literacy and making that available to the community.
Mayor Blong says that one thing she plans to improve is the workforce in Midland. She believes one way to improve that is by providing the access to read and write through the many organizations in the Permian Basin. If you want to know where to drop off books, you can visit our website at CBS7.com. And it's time to take a look at weather. Chief Meteorologist Tom Tieferteller is here to tell us what we can expect. Tom?
Well, we are going to be looking at the possibility of an isolated shower or thunder shower, but for the most part, hot temperatures. Let's go ahead and take a look at the West Texas view of the satellite and radar, seeing that most of the showers and thunderstorms have ended for West Texas. Still seeing some activity up here along a dry line around Wichita Falls, headed towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It was hot out there, upper 90s across the Permian Basin, but look at that, all the way up to 102 in Wink, 101 in Pecos this afternoon. We've cooled off a little bit out there, still hanging on to 90 in Monahans right now, and a little cooler into the mountain areas, into the 70s at the present time. But the forecast temperature trend, well, it looks like it's going to stay rather hot here coming up for tomorrow and continue that way all the way into the weekend. Saturday is the official start of the fall season. Where's the fall weather? Well, we'll see temperatures a little bit above where they should be this time of the year next week, but trying to cool off at least out of the 90s.
Thanks, Tom. We have a traffic alert for you. According to a release from TxDOT, the westbound right lane on I-20 from the Loop 250 ramp to the FM 1788 off ramp will be closed from 7 p.m. tonight to 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. TxDOT says the construction team will be repairing the pavement. Drivers are reminded to slow down and obey warning signs in this work zone. And if you drove past the Ector County Coliseum today, you may have seen local law enforcement outside the Coliseum. That's because today law enforcement participated in an active shooter drill. Every day, hundreds of officers across the area respond to 911 calls. Whether it's a bomb threat or active shooter, there's no way of ever knowing what the day will bring as an officer. Officers from OPD, Ector County Sheriff's Office, DPS, UTPB Police, ECISD Police, and staff from Medical Center Hospital all took part in the training course.
Yeah, so we try to make it as real as possible. So we do have the actors, we do have Odessa Fire Rescue here. We are even transporting victims in paramedic vehicles and also the police vehicles as well, just as a backup. So we're taking everything into consideration, but it's just so important to be prepared because we learn from our mistakes.
OPD plans on having more of these trainings the rest of the year so that other local officers are ready for any situation. And mark your calendars because we are 1 month away from the Permian Basin International Oil Show at the Ector County Coliseum from October 17th to the 19th. The show has been in Odessa since the 1940s and brings in people from across the U.S., North Africa, and Asia. At the show, over 700 vendors gather to network and show off new oil and gas equipment, new technology, and innovations within the industry. President of the show, Larry Richards, joined us in the studio earlier today to talk about the event.
It's an exciting time to be in our industry, and especially in the Permian. We are the epicenter of innovation for the onshore oil and gas industry.
PBIOilShow.org has information about registering to attend. And volunteers are the driving force that keeps the West Texas Food Bank mission alive. That's according to staffers who say those people carry the load amid growing food insecurity in West Texas. If you can't donate food or funds, you might consider donating your time during Hunger Action Month. The month of September highlights hunger needs in the Permian. Food bank staff say they've seen an increase in need for various reasons, like inflation and higher utility costs. That means more food donations are needed, which requires more volunteers to serve people.
Since I've started here volunteering, the workload has increased. So it puts a lot on the few people that are consistent here. If others don't show up, the workload gets pretty hefty. So volunteers are needed.
Staffers say Giles is one of those consistent volunteers. He says his reason for showing up every week is his need to serve after retiring early. Another consistent volunteer, 97-year-old Maurice Bonecutter.
Shove the cart out the door and bring the empty one back and give it to the next person in the assembly line.
All you have to do is what Maury tells you to do. He's our #1 volunteer. So if he says put the box this way, put the box that way, because he will remind you that you're doing it wrong.
To join Bonecutter and Kemp, call the West Texas Food Bank at 432-580-6333. And when it comes to some of the most dangerous jobs in America, one of them might surprise you. According to a study done by John Fitch, veterinarians ranked #1 because vets receive the most injuries on a 40-hour week schedule. Local veterinarian Tommy Wilson, despite the dangers in his line of work, he wouldn't compare it to other jobs, police officer, firefighter, or oil field worker. However, he and other veterinarians have sustained injuries like bites, scratches, and even powerful hits that can affect the human body. Dr. Wilson says he's been bitten and kicked throughout his 26 years of experience as a veterinarian.
But with the exotic animals, that brings in a whole nother risk of factors. And, even beyond injuries, you've got zoonotic diseases, possibilities, of transmitting dangerous diseases from an animal to a person.
A to Z Veterinary Clinics treats all kinds of animals, including snakes, porcupines, camels, lemurs, iguanas, and much more. And we have a quick update for you now on a story I shared with you yesterday. You'll remember over the weekend, 2 puppies were found in a tar pit in West Odessa. This is what the dogs looked like before, and take a look at how they look now. These photos came from the vet today. I'm told that while they are still not feeling good, they are better than they were yesterday. We will, of course, continue to keep you updated on their condition. And if you want to donate to these puppies' vet bill, you can visit OdessaHumaneSociety.org, and you can read my original article on the rescue of these dogs up on our website at CBS7.com. And speaking of our website, you're looking now at today's top headlines shown here in real time with real viewers on CBS7.com. See all of these stories and more by downloading our app or visiting our website at CBS7.com. And still ahead, historically, younger generations have chosen not to vote. Next on CBS 7 News at 9, we take a look at how that could change across Texas. And several businesses have joined the Peanut Butter Brigade. You can donate peanut butter at any of the businesses you see on your screen across Midland and Odessa. You can sign your business up for the brigade by emailing peanutbutter@cbs7.com. Are you registered to vote? Today would be a good day to check. It's National Voter Registration Day. CBS's Austin's Abigail Velez is taking a look at why some young voters have historically shrugged off their vote, and more importantly, how that could change.
Some people might say that this is just another paper. And other people say it's a piece of paper that was once worth dying for.
People marched and they fought and they got beaten and they got imprisoned and they died so people could have the right to vote that we enjoy today.
Bruce Elfant is the Travis County voter registrar.
I believe voting is a right that we cherish, but it's also a responsibility.
A responsibility that reports say only half of the voting population in Travis County cares about. Only 50% of registered voters headed to the polls in last year's midterm election.
We're going to have an election here in November with a bunch of constitutional amendments. Probably the turnout is going to be about 20%. So 80% of registered voters delegated their voice to a majority of 20%.
And of those voters, only a fraction of them were Gen Zers. Some students at Austin High School say that's going to change.
Voting isn't something that's going to increase among the young population just by saying, oh yeah, I'm going to go do it.
Sophia Trejo is a first-time voter and the president of the Austin High School Young Voters Club.
I think lots of what's deterring young people from voting is having a lack of understanding and access to how to register to vote to begin with.
Texas has long been considered one of the hardest states to register to vote in. We don't have online voter registration like 41 other states and Guam.
For a generation that lives online, this is one thing that they can't access on the internet. But co-president of the AHS Young Voters Club, Serena Ray, says this hurdle won't stop her from being heard.
In the end, are going to be making decisions for many future generations of kids.
Now, although September 19th is the official National Voter Registration Day, people can register to vote any day of the year. And here's a helpful tip. If you're planning on voting in the November election, you'll have to have your registration done by October 10th. Reporting in Austin, Abigail Velez, CBS Austin News.
Reports say voter turnout rates have been on a steady decline since the fall of 2018, especially with the younger generation.
Well, meanwhile, back in West Texas, we're dealing with more heat. That ridge of high pressure, it's back, and 90s are on the way. We'll talk about all that coming up next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Teefertiller.
Well, thunder showers have ended for West Texas for tonight. Everything's pushed off to the east. The West Texas view of the satellite and radar gives us the latest update as we had a dry line get a little active, especially across the lower Trans-Pecos. But now that thunderstorm activity has dissipated, everything shifted off to the east. We did have a little thunderstorm form up across Mitchell County and move off to the south and east towards Ballinger. More thunderstorms near Breckenridge, east of Wichita Falls, and moving off towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area where they are dealing with some severe thunderstorms as little disturbance is moving out. There's another one on its heels. It's going to move up and over this ridge of high pressure. Yes, that same ridge that's been causing all the heat this summer. Well, it's building back into the area once again. So we saw hot conditions today. More of that is in the forecast here, at least for the next couple of days. But it's not going to be at least not widespread triple digits out of this is what I'm trying to say. There's a thunderstorm activity, and wouldn't that be nice to see some of that start to move in across parts of West Texas? But unfortunately, it's over towards north central Texas. If you got flight plans, you might want to check the internet and see what's going on because those thunderstorms could cause some issues with the traffic first thing in the morning hours. But West Texas, though, we're going to look pretty quiet as that dry line has moved back off to the west. So we're seeing more of a southerly wind, a little bit of moisture returning to the area. Now, taking a look at high temperatures across the state today, Hot enough in West Texas with 98 degrees out at the Midland National Air and Spaceport, 99 in Presidio, but we did see some triple digits out towards Pecos and Wink, 101 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then where we're seeing those thunderstorms again, plenty of daytime heating adding fuel for those thunderstorms. Now for tonight, we're going to see things relatively quiet across the areas. The showers, thunder showers again move out into the east. More clouds, though, associated with another disturbance rolling in late tomorrow night, early into Thursday, but it looks like the rain, though, is going to stay a little bit further off to our north and northwest associated with it. So for the rest of the night, pretty quiet out there as we'll see temperatures drop down to around 70 to the upper 60s overnight, so not too bad a start. But tomorrow, though, upper 90s to low triple digits in many locations, especially like Presidio, up to 102 tomorrow afternoon. And your CBS7 First Alert exclusive 10-day forecast, we're keeping the mid to upper 90s around in the forecast all the way through the weekend. As Saturday is the start of the fall season, there will be a weak front move in late on Sunday, so that'll drop temperatures a little bit for the start of next week. May put a shower, thunder shower in the forecast, and a few of those may hang around for the middle part of the week, but really not that big a change as temperatures are going to stay a little bit above where they should be this time of the year all the way through next week and the start of the fall season.
Both President Biden and Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky made their case on the world stage for continued support for Ukraine in its war against Russia. That's next in your news across the globe on CBS 7 News at 9. President Biden and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky made the case at the United Nations General Assembly for continued support for Ukraine in its war against Russia. Michael George reports from the UN.
President Biden urged world leaders gathered at the United Nations to stand strong against Russia's illegal war on Ukraine.
If you allow Ukraine to be carved up, is the independence of any nation secure? I'd respectfully suggest the answer is no.
For the first time in modern history, we have a real chance to end the aggression on the terms of the nation which was attacked.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky appeared here in person at the General Assembly for the first time since Russia's invasion. He warned world leaders that the Kremlin's aggression could move beyond his war-torn country's borders.
And the goal of the present war against Ukraine is to turn our lands, our people, our lives, our resources into a weapon against you, against the international rules-based order.
Zelensky is set to visit the White House and Capitol Hill later this week.
Russia believes that the world will grow weary and allow it to brutalize Ukraine without consequence.
Amid growing signs of resistance among Republicans, Congress is considering President Biden's request for an additional $24 billion in aid for Ukraine. So far, Ukraine has received hundreds of billions of dollars in international aid. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The leaders of China and Russia and U.S. allies, France and Britain, all decided to skip the General Assembly. And still ahead, a dog is a man's best friend, but who's the dog's best friend? Coming up on CBS7 News at 9, we meet Benji the goat, an Australian dog's best friend. Meet Benji the goat and his best friend Basin the dog. Benji was born in the middle of a drought and the farmer couldn't keep him, but a couple from Australia saved the day when they adopted him into their family. A family with the dog. Benji's owner says because he is with the dog all the time, he has started to act like one. And Benji goes on walks, sniffs his surroundings, and like any pampered pooch, Benji loves his special treats. I would like a mini goat, Tom.
You would?
I think they are so cute.
Well,
and
we might set you up with that and see how it goes.
What a great conversation starter
on the street.
Well, you got that right. Yeah.
And they're in Australia. I wonder if they know Bluey.
Yeah, look at him on the sand over there, just relaxing.
Well, wouldn't we all want to do that? Okay, just relax on the Gold Coast there and enjoy the beach.
I know, if only we could be like this goat.
I'll tell you what, we've got the weather for the beach, okay? Because look at those temperatures. We're up to 98 today, 97 tomorrow to maybe 99 across the area. Some places will touch triple digits. Don't think we'll see a lot in the way of isolated showers or thunder showers really in our forecast. And these 90s are going to hang around all the way through to the start of the fall season.
Thanks for watching CBS 7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW.